pedestrian only. You're in a public street. Please.
Damn, but, you know, the multinational corporations need cheap labor, and what better way than to import it and make it go down in cost? Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of wearechange.org, and there is a lot of absolutely wild and berserk news to get into today, as of course we have some troubling developments domestically, as it looks like what's happening to America is not in its best interest. This as we are headed towards a very tumultuous, very huge, very big upheaval when it comes to the next presidential elections in 2024, as of course we have huge developments when it comes to the indictment of the former president of the United States and now the lead frontrunner for the presidency of the United States. How will all of this figure itself out? Well, I don't know. We'll discuss it here on this independent media broadcast, plus a lot more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was provided to us by freedomnews.tv. We, of course, will be linking their YouTube channel down in the description below and attributing their work on the ground right now in New York City, where government officials are now reporting 3 months ago that there was 65,000 illegals that were shipped into that city. Now the estimate is around 100,000 people, as the local government there is estimated to have already spent $4.2 billion housing these individuals that are being imported into this country and told a bunch of false promises. Essentially, what we're seeing here is a Koch brothers plan being unraveled in front of everyone's eyes that a lot of people are too afraid to call out, as of course these are shocking photos, shocking videos, shocking conditions that people are put through as predominantly migrant men are sleeping outside on the sidewalk of a hotel that has transformed into emergency centers that could barely handle the amount of people that are showing up there. Again, how do we get here? What's really going on here? Well, that's a topic for another day. This as in related, abusing, lying, and screwing over workers news. We have Lizzo that is being sued by her backup dancers that are accusing her of fat shaming them and making them do really weird adult stuff that we can't mention here on this broadcast. Yes, you heard that correctly. Lizzo is being sued by her former backup dancers because they are claiming she fat shamed them. All of this as clips like this are going viral, showing Lizzo being her perfect, beautiful self.
Yo, somebody let him drive. Let him drive.
To be fair, that cart is white and probably racist, so yeah, it's totally the golf cart's fault. As of course, Lizzo is bold and beautiful and allegedly shoves down bananas that were protruding from adult stars' privates, and while allegedly harassing, abusing, and more importantly, body shaming other individuals. But don't worry, Klaus Schwab has some good news for the workers of the world as he keeps prophesizing the fourth industrial revolution, which, quote, will lead to a fusion of physical, digital, and biological identities into one, where you probably can't complain about Lizzo shoving down a banana down your who-know-what from you-know-who's private parts. Is there going to be fat shaming in the technocratic, Orwellian, dystopian metaverse that these globalists want you living in a pod for? Well, that's a question that I think we can't even ask here because Klaus Schwab and his right-hand man, Yuval Harari, are trying to blame, stop, and eliminate even the speculation of this happening, as of course, Yuval Harari literally called for conspiracy theorists to be eliminated. This as our society becomes more and more unfair, more unhinged, more uncontrolled, as powerful people get away with more and more atrocities against the general public. And whether it's the working class, backup dancers, migrants, everyone's getting screwed over, and that's why we created LukeUnfiltered.com, our own platform where we get to have honest and frank conversations about not getting screwed over. This is the website where, of course, we delve into topics and issues that we cannot hear on this particular platform, topics that are not family-friendly, but are focused around making sure that you have the best information at your hands to make the best decisions that make sure that you are not victimized by this system that thrives off of your victimhood. Again, we're going to be talking about some very, very crazy topics here later on today. We also, by the way, just released a special walk and talk video from Venice, California, that is only available for members of LukeUnfiltered.com and Twitter subscribers. Twitter right now has an ability to subscribe to your favorite creator. You could actually subscribe to me on Twitter, and I am posting LukeUnfiltered.com videos there. If you're a member, we're doing extra videos for you, including, of course, this walk and talk video about fifth generational warfare, which is now up and only available for members. You also get a brand new spanking video later on, right after this one, talking about other very important issues that we cannot even mention here on this particular platform. All of those videos, all that exclusive content, only available for members and subscribers of twitter.com/Luke We Are Change. But more importantly, the best way to get access to a lot more than just the videos, 3 masterclasses, a forum, meetups in real life, contests, giveaways, AMAs, everything is only on LukeUnfiltered.com. They cost the same amount of money, and we greatly appreciate your support and your ability to, of course, be here with us, as, of course, this keeps us going, keeps us up and running, and fully independent from any censors or controllers. This, as our political discourse is getting more and more dangerous, as, of course, it's pretty clear that the Biden administration has been abusing their power and pressuring private alleged entities like Facebook to censor posts that dare criticize the narrative and agenda that is being used against the general public. The Biden administration was caught red-handed censoring big tech social media in order to push a larger psyop on you, and that's not the only institution that the Biden administration is, of course, pressing their thumb on the scales of, as, of course, we just had the third indictment of the lead frontrunner and major political opponent to the Biden administration, and that, of course, is the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, that has been indicted 3 times now, is expected to have 4 indictments in total, if not more, as already he is facing 561 years in prison. Yes, you heard that correctly. Donald Trump is facing 561 years in prison after accumulating all of his charge if he is sentenced and found guilty of all the charges that are currently being brought up against him. It's also important to note that the latest indictment will be heard by a judge named Tanya S. Cuckton, a judge that has overseen the Trump January 6th case and has, more than any other judge during these cases, provided more jail time than the recommended amount for suspects of the January 6th incident. Clearly, many political analysts say a judge that is biased in this particular case and has more of a political rather than a judicial motive in this entire scenario, as she will be overseeing Donald Trump being charged with conspiracy to, quote, defraud the government and, quote, obstruct the electoral count, being charged with an additional 4 federal charges, but not being charged with seditious conspiracy or insurrection, which is very important here because those 2 charges, if convicted, would prohibit him from running in the 2024 presidential election, and he is not being charged with those specific charges. There are also 6 co-conspirators that are being indicted with the former president of the United States, those specifically Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, and others, who are soon to be officially indicted according to some political analysts. This, as online commentator Glenn Greenwald points out, that this latest indictment literally reads like a jointly written monologue by MSNBC staff, as Donald Trump Jr. on Twitter pointed out the fact that a lot of these indictments come the day before there's major news surrounding the Bidens that doesn't paint them in a fair light, pointing specifically to June 7th, a date where the FBI released documents to Congress showing how the Bidens took a $10 million bribe from Burisma. And then on June 8th, Jack Smith indicts Trump at Mar-a-Lago for his documents case. July 26th, Hunter Biden went to court and had his sweetheart deal rejected. And then on July 27th, the next day, Jack Smith added more charges for Trump in the Mar-a-Lago case. Then, of course, we have July 31st, Hunter's business partners testifying to Congress. And then August 1st, Jack Smith indicts Trump again, now for January 6th, showing to me a very clear correlation of a government covering up a lot of their criminal activities and, of course, going after their chief political opponent, which clearly, according to many analysts, is political prosecution. There's no other way to see it, as, of course, many presidents, whether it's the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, all of them have committed many violations of the law, broke protocol, didn't do what they were supposed to, even in some instances extrajudiciously assassinated American teenagers, and yet they never were held responsible for it. But now Donald Trump is facing nearly 6 life consecutive sentences. And this right now shows a turning point in American politics, a crossing of the Rubicon that there's no going back from, that is extremely dangerous for our current political discourse. When it came to the Russian collusion, no one was held accountable for that. When it came to lying and getting America into needlessly pointless wars, no one was held accountable. When it came to the banker bailouts, when it came to so many horrible things that happened, no one was held accountable for it. But it looks like the left and Mike Pence are celebrating today something that, of course, they also have to realize is promoting Donald Trump and having more of his people stand behind him and more people donate to him because he's being punished. People don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand why they're celebrating, as, of course, at the same time that they're celebrating these prosecutions, they're also elevating the man that they say that they hate and they want to stop. And they're doing the exact opposite of that in the political sphere, as perfectly highlighted by Mike Pence, who is met with a lot of criticism for his posts essentially celebrating this indictment, as we're also finding out today that he kept notes secretly of conversations that he had with Donald Trump. And now, allegedly, according to some sources, these notes are going to be presented as evidence in the 4 federal charges against Donald Trump. This, as these legal court proceedings are, of course, hindering the former president of the United States financially, but with his supporters, is making them more fervent, emboldened, and doubled down more than ever. As, of course, a lot of people looking at this that are not involved in politics clearly see one side trying to unfairly stop another. This, as the argument for January 6th is being used also against individuals like Joe Rogan that are actually just daring to ask questions about the event, which now Ray Epps' lawyer is firing back and somehow trying to obfuscate blame from the entire incident, specifically for Joe Rogan. As Ray Epps' lawyer and attorney came out and said if Rogan is, quote, truly interested in focusing on who instigated the January 6 riots, Epps' lawyer said he would find more truth in looking at the mirror. Yes, that's literally the allegations and claims being made against Dr. Roro here, which in my opinion is absolutely absurd. And when our political discourse is going after commentators who are asking questions about an event and trying to blame them for what they deem an entire insurrection, that's when you know American politics has lost the plot here and has essentially jumped the shark. We are moving into very dangerous territories where people don't try to make sense anymore, but try to, of course, get an emotional reaction out of you for their own political purposes and power and authority that they want over you. It is sickening, it is troubling, and the way we are moving towards this presidential election makes me believe that we actually won't have one. I said this a couple months ago. Douglas McGregor also said this. Roseanne Barr also said this recently. We've been saying this for a very long time here on this independent media broadcast, and we're not kidding. We made an entire video on LukeUnfiltered.com specifically talking about that. I'm going to be expanding on comments about that even more later down the line. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively sharing and supporting this independent media broadcast. And because you do, that's why I'm here. That's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.